Day Talk. Today we are here with Tower Hill Barns.
Hi ladies, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Very good, thank you.
Introduce yourselves, let us know what you do.
So I'm Sally and I'm the owner here at Tower Hill Barns. And I work largely at the weddings on the floor.
Awesome.
I'm Georgie, or G, one of the wedding managers here, and I get allocated a certain amount of couples, and then I look after them right from the beginning of the planning stages up until the big day itself.
Perfect. So let's start from the beginning then. So Tower Hill Barns wasn't always here.
No, not in the way that it is now.
So take us through the history of it then. How did it get to be the amazing venue that it is now?
So Tower Hill Barns, as it is now, has been a bit of a labour of love.
Okay.
When we bought it, it was called Trevor Barn, and it was just one barn, and now we've doubled the capacity of the venue, and it was a large renovation project 10 years ago. So, and it was born off the back of a drunken conversation at a party in what was Trevor Barn.
But all the best conversations are there.
I don't often walk home from a party with a new wedding venue though.
No, that's definitely
That's a new one.
Yeah, so my mum held her 60th birthday party here back in 2013, and we travelled up from Brighton to attend the party. The previous owner was looking to sell the property. We were looking to move to Wales from down south. So like I said, bit of a drunken conversation at 4 a.m. And we did a sort of handshake, was like, yeah, we'll buy the barn, we can do a wedding venue. And then we just had to work out how we were going to do it all.
Wow. And have you done weddings before, saying that you're going to just buy a wedding venue?
No, we hadn't done weddings before, but we owned 3 cafes and an outside catering business in Brighton.
Wow, so that is hospitality at its finest.
Hospitality, catering background.
Yeah.
So that was...
Because if you can run a cafe, you can run a wedding.
Well, that's kind of our chain of thought.
Yeah. But there's a lot of like cross skills with stuff like that, because realistically, you've running a business like that anyway is busy. It's difficult. You've got tight margins to work with, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then you've got the whole face to face and keeping people happy, and you've got a very short window as somebody walks in to be happy and then walk back out, etc., etc. So there's a lot to it. It's a hospitality business at the end of the day, isn't it?
And I think it's because my sister Sophie has been with us since the start. We ran the cafes and set up the cafes together in Brighton. So both of our passion for hospitality, customer service, and just the passion that we had behind the cafes when we set them up, good quality coffee, best quality bread, best ingredients. We're like, we can turn that passion into something else.
You've worded that much better than I did. So where my head was at is when you've got hotels that transition into hosting weddings, I don't think they do as well on the customer service side as places that started off as small businesses, and they're used to that kind of, customer comes in, let's make this a great experience for you because you matter. Every single person that comes into that cafe matters. Whereas when it's a hotel, it's like just come to customer, big chain, doesn't really matter.
And hopefully that's what makes a difference with us now. I don't know if you'd agree, G, as being one of the employees here. Even though it's family run, it is just born of a real passion for giving people the best experience. And I like to think that when people come to my house, because I like hosting, I like to put on nice food, nice drinks. I love doing it. Yeah. And hopefully we've been able to sort of transfer that to the wedding business.
And you have, and you can see that we work in some places where they're like big commercial venues and they'll do hundreds of weddings a year, hundreds.
Yeah.
And you can tell, you can tell that they won't remember who you are when you come back tomorrow, but it is what it is. And it's like a factory line of weddings, one in, one out. Whereas when you come here, it's more personable, it's friendly, everyone's really happy to see you, and it's really lovely, and it's not just kind of, can we just have your money?
Well, that's exactly how we wanted it to feel, and because ultimately it is a business, and we do need to make money, but I don't think me, Sophie, the family, back when we could run a business if we didn't genuinely care about the people that we want to come through the doors.
I mean, you can see that because when I did an open day here recently, I was talking with a chef, and he said, "Oh no, we're happy to try and bespoke stuff to people, and we want to try new things and challenge us and things like that." You don't get that with a big commercial venue. They've got a set menu, and they just want to make it as profitable as possible and get people in and out. There's no emphasis around making it a great experience. It's just kind of...
No, that's it. And I think they're trying to make it as easy as possible. And like you say, and we never ever wanted to make it feel like an assembly line of weddings, because Andrew and I attended a wedding a few years ago, and it was a really, really nice place in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
A very, very nice castle type venue. But there were two brides in the reception at the same time.
Oh, no.
And it just so happened that Busted, the 90s band, were on tour as well, and they walked in. So there was two brides, Busted. We were like, yeah, this is all a bit random. But can you imagine on your special day being in the same room as another lady that's getting married? And we were just like, this is really bad.
No.
So we never wanted people to feel like, even though we do weddings back to back, we've really, really tried to perfect the art of not letting people feel like it's please leave now.
Yeah.
We just want them to feel like it is their place for the day, and there is.
Well, that's really important, because you got to have that balance anyway. Of you have venues that do too few weddings, so they can't afford to reinvest in the place. And since we've been shooting here, we've noticed it grow, and you're always trying to refine things and make it better.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you've got too few. It's got to run as a business. There's got to be that element of we're getting in enough weddings to go, let's improve this. And you do get some wedding venues that do just a minimal amount, and that's nice, but everything's so dated and needs a repair, and it's all kind of running downhill slowly because they're just running it into the ground.
That's it, and I think that's one thing that takes us back to the start as well.
Yeah.
When we did first purchase the property, I just thought we were going to be using the old barn, giving it a little bit of a refresh.
Yeah.
And myself and Sophie would be able to do buffets, because that was our capabilities at the time.
Yeah.
But Andrew, he's very, very business driven, and he's very forward thinking, and he had this idea that we should extend.
Yeah.
And we drove off to Welsh Oak Frame, Andrew and I, one day to sort of have a look at how we could extend. And once we left there, I was like, well, that's it, we can't really afford that at the moment, we're just going to have to get going as we are, do a few buffets, try and get a little bit of money behind us, because we certainly didn't, just purchasing the property for us was a big step.
Yeah.
And as we drove away from there, I said, oh, well, we can't afford it for now, we'll just get going. And he's like, we'll do it, we'll manage it somehow. He's like, I'm signing the contract, we'll get the frame started, and we're just going for it. And I was like, whoa, okay. So we didn't actually have the funds to build the barn as it is now from scratch. So year on year, we always made it. January every year was to be closed, so as we could, having made a little bit more profit, that we could reinvest it and improve. Yeah. So the first, certainly up until maybe when COVID hit, we did do a little bit of work through COVID, but for the first 7 years, every January, we were adding to and trying to improve what we had.
And it shows, and the place looks
absolutely.
amazing for it, and you should be really proud of what you've achieved here. It's
you.
always spoken of in high regard. Anytime anybody talks about Tower Hill Barn, it's always with a big smile on the face. Oh yeah, my friend got married there, it's really lovely, and they remember the service, they remember the place, and it's got a uniqueness about it, which is, it shows that you've put passion and energy into it.
It's nice to know, and then now I think sort of my job is done, other than just tweaking and keeping on top of things and keeping it looking pristine. Now it's my amazing team that do the job of making people feel as welcome as we want them to be.
Yeah. So you said that Tower Hill Barns wasn't actually called Tower Hill Barns at the beginning. So what was actually here?
So what was here was we call it the old barn, which is now the ceremony room and the party room at night time. So it's the old cattle barn, the 200-year-old sandstone cattle barn.
Oh, is it 200 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's part of what we're in at the moment, isn't it?
That's what we're in at the moment. This used to be, because the previous owners did do weddings, but on a very different scale to what we do now. So there was this barn and the farmhouse.
Okay.
So Andrew and I moved into the farmhouse with our 2 young children, and the farmhouse hadn't really been touched for like 30 years. The previous owners lived there for a long time. Yeah. So we sort of started to renovate that and renovate the sandstone barn, and that was step one.
With 2 kids?
With 2 kids that were 5 and 2 at the time.
Wow.
So it's been a journey.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how we managed it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my mum this morning, because my parents were so instrumental in helping us get the barn to where it is now, and help with the building work. It was all hands on deck. And
I'm guessing they're local then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Parents come from Chirk, so it was a big move home for me.
Yeah.
From Brighton.
It's good to have that support network, though, isn't it, with kids, especially moving near your parents. It's always helpful.
We really needed the help, and just I can't even believe now that Lucas was 2 when we started this, and I was like, how did we do it?
Yeah.
I mean, we struggle now at Ethan's too, just trying to get through, with wedding stuff and having a toddler running around.
Hats off to you.
Yeah.
Couldn't have
It's
done
just
that.
hard work,
But
isn't it?
to build a wedding venue, wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so when I look back, it's no wonder Andrew's my ex now. I don't think he'd mind me saying that either. we often used to joke back, and we're very, very good friends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we still own and run the venue together, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to joke during the building stages that the first party would be our divorce party because it was unbelievably stressful, especially not having the funds and 2 young children. It's been a labour of love, like I say.
Yeah.
So we started with the sandstone cattle barn, and then obviously had this grand design done for us by Welsh Oak Frame, who suggested doubling the size and putting the bar in between to join the 2 buildings. We had a little bit of issues with planning because they wanted it to look like an old farm building, and the initial design was a little bit too modern.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
However, the local councillor was really instrumental in helping us get that through, and once we redesigned it slightly.
Did the barn have any restrictions in terms of like grading or anything with it being 200 years old? Was there anything, or was it just more they were just concerned about the design elements than
Design elements and making it blend in with the local the local aesthetic, and we did have a bit of a stumbling block with it being near to the World Heritage Site.
Oh right,
The aqueduct, with it being less than a mile away from the aqueduct.
What impact
right.
does that have with?
Well, you wouldn't think it would have any really, but
No.
there are
Yeah.
very, very strict
okay.
rules about what you can build within a certain, what's the word?
Radius.
Yeah.
Radius
Yeah.
of the World Heritage
Really?
Site.
Oh, okay.
So
Was that because I remember when we did some promo work here for the over COVID, we shot some of the the promo videos so people could still see what the venue looked like, because no one could come visit, no one could come do these things. And I remember there was a conversation about that. Wasn't that part of your logo originally or something? The
yes,
aqueduct,
it was.
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely, it was the.
Was that to
you
tie
just
in
reminded
with it?
me now.
Yeah.
So it had to tie in with that. So, and we thought because that's a really good, unique selling point for bringing people outside the area to the area.
Yeah.
So let's incorporate it in the original logo. So it was the arches of the aqueduct.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot about
Did that help sway the council?
I think it might have.
So you've also got obviously the ceremony for outside, which is underneath the bridge.
Yes.
Was that already here when you bought the place, or how did it work? Did you decide to put ceremonies underneath there, or had somebody already came up with that idea?
So
for you?
again, it was Andrew's forward thinking.
Yeah.
Like I say, he's always had a really, really good vision for things and how they can be. And I think Andrew gets the visions, and then myself, Sophie, my family, and the team, we all just sort of run behind him and go, okay. It's a bit mad, but we'll try and make this work.
Yeah. He's the dreamer.
The dreamer, and we're the grafters. You might kill me for that.
I think that's the usual relationship between men and women, though, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So the bridge was part of the land.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew, again, when he was like surveying the land, and he's like, oh, I can't believe that this is what we bought, and he was sort of getting ideas about what we could do with it. He just used to bring his friends up from London and go, can you believe that I own a railway bridge?
Wow.
I was really excited by this real man thing, and I was just like,
Yeah.
it's a bridge. What is so exciting about a bridge?
But it looks
the part-
amazing down there now, and that's like one of the big selling points to me. The fact that you can get married underneath a bridge. If the weather suddenly turns, you stay dry, you're underneath. And you've got cover for all your guests as well. It's still an outside ceremony. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's never scary when we shoot here and we go, oh no, there might be a drizzle halfway through or something kind of thing. It's like, okay, fine, guests will be okay, bride and groom will be okay, or the couple or whoever we're marrying that day.
Yeah.
If that passes, great. Everybody just kind of heads out, and
it's brilliant.
It's not as
use
scary
of
as
it.
like getting married open field.
No, absolutely, with no cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was the rules with Wrexham at the time as well, because you're governed by the rules of the local council for where you can get married. And I think it was in Wrexham, the rules were you had to have a roof and 3 sides.
Yes.
So what is now our outside bar, when the previous owners were in charge, that used to be the ceremony area.
Really?
Yes, it wasn't enclosed. So you used to walk across the back lawn and get married inside the outside bar.
Oh, okay.
So when we sort of reconfigured and turned everything around, and Andrew had this idea for the bridge, and with the rules, it's like what we do is we put her back on the bridge.
Right.
And then we have essentially got a huge, unique structure.
Oh, so it really was a flow through.
Oh, it was flow through. So
Yeah.
we've larched the back.
Yeah.
To make it enclosed.
Oh, that's clever.
And then it's sort of quite nice that you can actually walk down the path and the guests can't see you come in. So it's worked quite well, or we've made the best of quite a unique feature.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How does that work with the neighbours then who are behind the bridge? Who's...
We've got a very, very, very friendly farmer. That the back of the bridge just borders his land really, and there's a little pathway that separates our neighbours from. And to be honest, I think it's probably enclosed the noise for them a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, it's probably helped
Yeah.
in terms of, because the neighbours have been amazing.
Yes.
At times.
So who owns the farm then? That's there with, because we've done many a shoot where the cows will come out and said hello and it's all very lovely.
Is that sheep on there at the moment?
Yeah, well, I think they move the animals around. Yeah, is that part of Tower Hill Barns, or is that the farmers, or?
So it's not part of Tower Hill Barns, but it does have a public footpath that runs through it, which I think helps, which is why we're allowed access.
I was wondering, because the first times we started doing this, we're trespassing, is this okay?
No, it's definitely okay, because the farmer that owns the fields is a good friend of ours, and he lives locally, and he's always like, I don't mind if you respectfully use the fields. But that's why we have strict things about fireworks, because we don't want to scare his animals.
But to be fair, a lot of the couples, because you get a lot of people who they love their nature, and that's why they choose a nice barn in the country and whatnot, and they love the fact that you can go up and the cows.
You get some amazing shots from there as well. I think some of the shots that you do get up there are lovely.
It's nice to be able to see over the whole thing, isn't it?
It is,
on a bit of an elevation,
with the barn as a backdrop.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So no, but he's great. He was instrumental in helping us with certain aspects of the building. If it's been snowing, he'd turn up with his tractor. I do think he sublets the fields now to somebody else. But again, he's always had our back. So we're really lucky.
That's so good, though. I mean, that's a credit to you as well, because you're obviously very lovely in order to have that relationship with them in the first place. So
I think that's the thing. When we did move here, it was really important to make really good friendships and really be respectful of the people that live here. Because obviously we want to create a business on their doorstep, and it can be quite difficult when you move into a small place. It's like all these people coming from down south and want to make a business, but it's like actually we don't want to upset anybody. We want to be really mindful of the people that live around us.
And it does happen. We've been to venues where they're literally surrounded by housing estates, so they've plonked a venue in the middle, like an old working man's club or something. They converted it into a wedding venue, so the next door, like right there, and you can tell there's no relationship with the neighbours, because the venue have to be, listen, everybody has to be inside by 8 p.m. and super strict, and we'll get complaints and they're on the phone, and you think, that's a cringy operating, isn't it?
It is. It's hard, isn't it? I mean, there have been times where maybe but we've been very open with the neighbours. We've spoken to them. We're like, please come back to us with feedback. We'll do absolutely everything we can to minimise disruption on your lives.
So that's really interesting about the bar then. I was just trying to picture that as to how that was the original ceremony setup. I never knew that.
I'll have to show some pictures actually, and maybe it might be quite nice for us to share some on social media, maybe
to show the growth of the building. Because it's huge when you think about the fact that you've added so much to this place.
And how it's changed sort of even year on year from when we first opened. But it was very, very different.
Every time we go so we've gone to do promo stuff or whatever kind of thing, it's like, I'll just go use that drone shot. Oh no, it's changed from last year. So it's they've changed the path, or they've changed this. It's like, let's go back and reshoot that. No, it's great. It's a compliment too. You can tell when you do stuff like that, because you go, that's a great shot. I'll just go put that in. Hang on, last time I was there, that path's been redone, and that garden's been changed, and that's been updated, and it's all to improve the look, and it's all kind of putting back into it, which is just adds to that richer experience, doesn't it, for the couples?
And hopefully improve people's experiences, because even now I could redesign things or add little bits on, but I think at some point you've really got to just chill and just maintain what we've got.
And I think a lot of it then comes down to the couple's experience on the day, which is then where G comes in, being able to look after people from the beginning right through to the end. So tell us a little bit about kind of couple's experience then when they start to get to know you in the morning, and what your day normally looks like when a couple first arrives.
So usually I'm here before guest arrival, and then I'll pop up to the prep room just to check everything's going okay and whether they need anything upstairs. And then I'm down in sort of the bar area checking over the music for the ceremony, should they have that, or if they've got a musician, greeting those sort of vendors that come on site at that stage.
Guessing you've got like a really big checklist of stuff to make sure
Yeah,
all
I
the
just
stuff
had
they
to
brought with them and
just make sure everyone's happy, got what they need. And
do you just put out all the stuff they bring, so you know that they come with, and they'll have every time we come here there's a different display, people really go out all out on pictures, and do you just kind of take that and start putting it all together how you see fit, or do you have
so I suppose the couples, they usually drop off in the week leading up to their big day, and we've got an amazing setup team who, you know, they iron all the tablecloths before
that's cool.
we set up, and then we'll put all the chairs around, things like that. And
it's
then
all the hidden work that nobody sees.
Yeah, exactly. All the things in the backgrounds that you might not necessarily think about, but actually it is instrumental to making sure it looks perfect for the couple.
Well, it's funny that you say about the tablecloths though, because I've spoken to a few people and they say, there was one person that I spoke to because they were looking at a venue and they said, I had to ask, could you iron the tablecloths? And you're like, really? You have to ask for that?
You say that though, but venues I've previously worked at, that was not a thing. We didn't steam or iron them. And then I look back at pictures and I'm like, oh my God. Because they used to be like cloth, the top, the registrar table, for example. And it's like, you can just see the creases. But now I work at this venue where I'm like, oh, we need to do that, because then you see ironed versus unironed, and there's a big difference.
Well, this is all the hidden value when people get a quote, and we get the same problem where people get a quote from us, and we literally just tell people now when they first get the message from, listen, this will be one of the more expensive quotes you get, and this is why. Okay,
because you're going to get
we're going to do this. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to go all.
We're not going to cheapen out on things, just like you guys don't cheapen out on ironing tablecloths.
Because you can always compete on price, but then you drop in quality. But it's the small things that people notice, and if it didn't have all of that extra quality, that extra background work, and it's all the unseen stuff. There's so much stuff that we do that people don't see, so they can't see that immediate value.
Same with you guys, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and we might have included in the venue hire, which we don't. I've never wanted a list of add-ons. It's like when you hire the venue, you get the fire pits, the lights on, all of the candles, all of the scented candles, all of the expensive hand soap. It is in the venue. It is in the package. I don't want you to choose whether you want those things. I want you to come to Tower Hill, and that is there. And that's what maybe makes us a premium venue, and maybe more.
What you see is actually what you get.
What you see is what you get. They're not add-ons.
And it matters. We've always operated under the same principle. Somebody comes to us and they'll listen, we don't do 8 hours, we don't do 4 hours. We're only going to do X amount of number of weddings in a year, and we're going to go all in for those. You just tell us when your date is. We'll be there early and we'll finish late. Don't worry about if stuff runs late. Don't worry about if the DJ's late or whatever. We're not going to be tapping our watch going, listen, we've got to go. We're here for you for the whole day. And then anything that needs doing, it's all inclusive. It sounds like a holiday package, doesn't it? But it's a nicer,
I just think it makes life easier to some extent, actually, because then, and you just know that every day you're going to work, you're doing your absolute best, and you're giving the best quality experience.
Exactly.
Because otherwise it'd be a bit half-hearted. I don't know how you differentiate, for instance, between couples. Go, well, let's not treat them as nicely because they haven't paid as much. It's just not a very nice way to sort of how I wouldn't want to operate my business. I don't.
And I think no matter how much people have paid, they still have quite a high expectation of service. We found that after 18 years, we've done a variety of different packages, and we've done ones where they have a little bit of this and a bit of that, and they can bespoke stuff. And in the end, they always come back and go, well, I thought this would be included in this bit. Oh, no, that's not in your package. And that's why. So you're like, do you know what? We're just going to do
just makes life more difficult. Makes life more difficult.
Yeah. And it's like here you go. Oh, I thought the tablecloths were behind. Oh no, you didn't pay for that little extra. And you can't operate that way. It needs to. If you want to be quality, then it's
just
all
give quality.
And people notice it. It is like you saying the hand soaps, stuff like that. You notice like the mum will go and like come back and go and she'll talk and say, guess what? They got Molten Brown, they got this, they've got that, and they love everything.
It's nice.
Yes, they love it.
Touches.
It is. It's the small bits of quality that kind of feed into an overall great experience, I think. But I love the ethos and the mindset of it too, though. And I don't think people always see that kind of hidden value of all the hard work and prep that goes into it, because it's not the fun, glossy stuff. It's the same for us. There's a ton of admin, there's a ton of research that goes into kind of each wedding that we do. We have like WhatsApp groups with our couples. So when they first book, I'll have a little WhatsApp with, let's say it's bride and groom, with And the groom just basically just watches a lot of the messages. He doesn't really get too much involved. Some do, some don't.
Sometimes he'll pipe up.
Yeah.
Most of the time
Well,
she's reading it.
it's more for when the bride goes, can we do this pose? And there's like, at least then the groom can see it. But that will require a lot of time. I'll get messages at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and there'll be, random thoughts on stuff. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Would this work? And all that value kind of ties into the overall. We could, if we wanted to, just be boggy basic, and we get it all the time. We get feedback from our couples when we talk to them about suppliers that they contact and they can't get reply back. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll message a venue. I was talking to somebody yesterday. They'll message a venue stylist, and it's a really big golf course venue, and they do a lot of weddings, etc. It takes them months to get a reply.
Oh, it's terrible. And I think that's why I'd like to pride ourselves on our team as well, because it's easy for me to sort of come in and go and make sure that everything looks pristine, blah, blah, blah. But the work that goes in behind the scenes on making sure that day is perfect. And now I think I get the nicest job because I just get to turn up on the wedding days as required. Just knowing full well what an amazing team I've got that have got it to that point, and all I need to do is read their notes for the day and go, right, I've just got to crack on with what they've essentially been doing for months really, really well. And I think that's why like G, for example, and all the other coordinators and wedding managers, they get such amazing reviews, because I think you hold their hands from the minute that they book. And you're brilliant at it.
Thanks. Well, that's it, because at the end of the day, people have said, we're so glad we had G by our side at the top of the aisle, especially when I've had a bride, for example, walk down the aisle by herself, not where you've got the traditional, dad walking you down the aisle, or mum in place of, or whatever it might be. And they're walking themselves down the aisle, which I think is an incredible thing to do. And then I'm stood there and I give her a big squeeze before I send her down the aisle, and she was very much felt like having an old friend by my side, and things like that. It's very rewarding in that aspect, and I love being there and giving them a quick squeeze, or whoever's down at the aisle. I'm like, good luck, see you on the other side, and I give them a big squeeze, and then I'm there with a drink as soon as they come up the aisle and they're married.
And that's the difference right there between these wedding factories and these kind of family-run businesses, where they're not going to do anything like that. It's just, there you go, off you go. They'll open the door for you. And it's, there's no love, for what's about to happen next, kind of thing. So,
and that's it. And I think that's one thing I've always loved. Like, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. It's not always, butterflies and rainbows. But it is a hard job. And like you say, not everyone appreciates what happens in the background of what you do.
That's hospitality. Hospitality is not rewarding at all, really, because it's you do so much that people just don't see.
Of course. And the long hours, which to be fair I actually quite enjoy, but it is building that relationship with your couple, getting to know them, becoming friends with them almost. I'm friends with some of my brides that I've previously had, and couples I've had. But then it is just rewarding seeing them, how happy they are on their big day, and that you've helped them have their dream day, because not every couple's the same, their wants, their needs, their visions, and no two wedding is the same, to be honest, because their guests are different, their family's different, what they want is different. It's really nice. It's a nice job to have.
We were chatting about this in the office before, weren't we, that it just feels like a huge privilege to be part of somebody's special day. Because it is quite intimate, and it's very, very personal, and when you're listening to people's speeches, and it's just, it is actually a privilege to be part of that.
Definitely.
So it's very difficult to come in and have a bad day at work. Because you're generally part of something really, really nice and special.
You still feel it, don't you? Because we're with them the whole day. So you're with them, all that emotional journey. Where they're having things like first looks, and there's parents are seeing them for the first time.
Well, that is emotional.
All those kind of like beautiful moments, and then you're there with them just before they walk down the aisle, and we're there as they walk towards us as they're coming down the aisle. And we can see the groom in tears, kind of thing. And you have all these kind of like beautiful moments, and then again that we're back in front of them when they just got married, and throwing their arms in the air, and they're all excited, and it's nice when we give them a bit of space during the drinks reception, just to kind of focus on the guests, kind of thing. But it's always nice when you get to take them out for portraits, just have that little breath. And that 5 minutes where they can just kind of be themselves.
And you can see
be together.
Be together.
And there's a big change in the couple, isn't there? Because you can see that it's weird because you've been with both of them throughout the day, and then when obviously they've both been talking about each other, and then when they actually come to get married, you can see that they're both nervousness and everything that they go through, and then when they finally are together, they're completely different people sometimes.
breathe.
Because they've both relaxed into what they are, the people that they are.
And then
they
with
spent
the
the morning
person,
either having a bit of a wobble or is that person all right, and all of a sudden they're chilled and they're happy and they're enjoying it all, and it's they're a couple all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's nice to see them together with the person they just want to be with the most.
Do you know what I would say? Like 9 times out of 10, like a bride and groom, for example, my meetings, it's like the groom that is, cool as a cucumber, super chill, and the bride's getting a bit more nervous, and they'll talk them through the ceremony and how the day starts and things like that to give them the full picture. And then on the day itself, I've got the bride up here, for example, who is super chilled with her Prosecco. Yeah. And then I come downstairs, greet the groom, and he's like bricking it. And it's like, don't worry, the moment you see each other, it's going to be absolutely perfect. And then, and that's it. Once they've got the ceremony out the way, and that sort of like nervous legal side of things, then they're super chill, having drinks, canapes.
Yeah, the weight kind of lifts off them.
Then they get nervous again.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
It's nice to take, when you get a summer wedding and you take the couple out after speeches, we get the kind of like sunset vibe shots, which is quite nice. Yeah. But you get it's not really about the fact it's 10 minutes in the evening kind of portrait. So it's the fact they've changed. Because the speeches are done, they've had a bit of table wine, so they're a bit tipsy. They're just kind of,
That's relaxed.
They're super relaxed because they've said all the things they need to say throughout the day, and you get this weight kind of lifts off them. They're in fun mode. They're in this kind
They've ate as well.
They're in this like nice playful mode that you kind of get back and forth, and that's when normally you get like the champagne sprays and the guzzling of bottles and so and all that kind of fun stuff. But it's a really nice kind of contrast, I think. So you see this journey, don't you, that they go through. So do you speak to them then prior to the wedding? Do you do a lot of meetings with them? And
so I suppose every couple have different sort of expectations of how many times you meet with them, chat with them, and some couples need more support than others, so it's kind of very much like, I'm in your hands, what do you need from me? How many meetings do you want? How many, like, what do you feel you need? Like, I'm there to support them. Like, I'm at this point now, we've already allocated out ready for next year, and I've already touched base, and I'm meeting those couples. I just think it's important before the Christmas craziness and things like that. Let's chat, let's talk about what your thoughts are, give you a little to-do list. So I love a list and checking things off.
George is the most organised person I know. I actually wouldn't mind her to be my PA, but I don't think she's got time.
And like, I had a bride this year who needed that support. She lived in Australia. Oh, wow. So, she couldn't just pop over. So we'd have a monthly check-in, like I was, made sure we had a monthly check-in.
Is that like over the phone or video calls?
WhatsApp video call. I quite like to do that with my couples.
Video calls are good.
Especially, with us having weddings on weekends, it's quite hard because, most couples 9 times out of 10 work a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. So it's hard to fit it into schedules and kind of get the diaries to coincide. So I don't mind doing a video call, of an evening, things like that. And sometimes it's a bit easier and it's more relaxing for them as well if they're at the comfort of their own home. Sometimes they're a bit more at ease as well.
That's really good. Because most venues you can only reach them by email as well, so that's a phone sometimes, but to have that kind of like nice one-on-one chat kind of really
definitely.
Nice,
and I did check obviously before giving my number out on WhatsApp, is that acceptable? And these guys are very much like, if you're comfortable with doing that, then absolutely, but obviously we don't want you to not have that work-life balance where you're answering your phone at 11 o'clock at night, which to be fair I don't.
We get messages at crazy times at night, but I'll get it, and I don't think they're expecting a reply.
No, they're not.
There, on a really good day, we've actually finished for the evening and we're watching a film. Most of the time we're just still in the office.
We're still editing.
Still working away. Your kids go to bed. Let's get in a couple of hours. But that WhatsApp, that kind of easy communication,
Yeah.
is just so much easier because you know you can drop your emojis. It's more relaxed.
Yeah, I love an emoji.
It's emails just all of a sudden become, you know, dear Georgia. You know, they just kind of lose that bit, don't they? And
It's more
then
formal.
if somebody's showing any frustration with anything as well, and it's easily solved, it's worse on an email. It just seems to grow. It never seems
Because
to.
it just sounds too formal and it sounds a little bit too aggressive, whereas a little WhatsApp chat can just be a little bit more personal.
Yeah, definitely.
And it fits the vibe of the venue, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Let's be this family, personal kind of approach to everything. So when you've got that kind of strict, you know, don't get me wrong, some people really like that. I've noticed that. However they want to communicate.
That's it.
Yes.
You kind of get an idea of whether they're a bit more formal or whether they're down for a bit of, you know, emojis and things like that.
Yeah.
I think one in the past, I think because I now put emojis in my emails because that's just who I am. I'm a bit, you know, I am fluffy. I'm very enthusiastic, aren't I?
Christmas elf.
I am the Christmas elf of THB. So it's just who I am, and I think that comes through my emails as well. But you know, in the past where I've had it like that's a bit too much emoji, so you have to reel it back a little bit because you get that sense of you know how your couple are when you build that rapport with them.
Yeah.
You normally tell by how they reply back to you. Whether
Yeah,
there's
like,
a little kiss or there's a
okay,
smile.
we're
Yeah.
kiss now.
Yeah.
Or it just says sent by iPhone. You're like, okay.
So 10 years ago at this point, we had an oak frame up and the roof off the old barn, the existing barn that we bought. So the building work was in full swing, and I was literally doing viewings on Sunday mornings, which would be my viewing time, telling people that they would be getting married in what was essentially at that time a muddy hole. And I was like, that's where you'll be standing for your ceremony, that's where you'll be having your dinner. And people had enough faith in me. I must have been quite a good saleswoman, or they must have felt really sorry for me. And they were handing over deposits for May the following year, because that's when we said we would be ready. And all along I was thinking, please, please, please don't it be a harsh winter, because if it's a harsh winter it's going to really halt our building schedule. And thankfully somebody was shining down on us, because we had a mild winter and we did manage to get everything finished by the 3rd of May, which was our first wedding in 2015. But we give ourselves a 6-month building schedule, which put us under a lot of pressure.
I mean, anybody who's watched like any Grand Designs or anything like that would think you're absolutely nuts.
I think we're
because
absolutely
normally
nuts too.
whenever you watch the TV program, when anybody says, "Oh yeah, we'll have it done in a year and this is our budget," you automatically go, "There's no way that's going to be done in a year, and there is no way that that'll be in budget."
Yeah,
so
I really don't know how we did it.
You did it is amazing.
We did it, and we, like I said, we had so many local builders that were such an integral part of getting it done for us. Farmers, builders, local people, and towards the very end, like when it was end of April coming towards the first wedding in May, I mean it was literally all hands on deck, and people were literally offering help. Can we come and help you? Can we come and do this?
Isn't
really,
that amazing?
people got
It showed
behind
the
us.
community around here that they all wanted to support this.
It was amazing. So we did our first wedding on the 3rd of May, and I think on the 4th of May we had a big party for everybody.
Yeah.
Because just the sheer relief of getting it out the way.
Yeah.
And we had a massive party for all the builders, all the farmers, all the family.
Yeah.
Just to say thank you.
Yeah.
And that's, I suppose, in many ways though, it's like that's where the real work started. We're
Yeah.
like, okay, we've built it, now we've got to do
Now you've got to run it. Yeah.
Loads of them. Yeah. And I think it just evolved from, they were smaller weddings back in those days, because they were what we could actually manage with a really small team.
That's good though, that you didn't kind of like try to exceed your grasp in some ways. There are some you know, that you see dollar signs, if you will, and they, you know, try and pull in these huge events and they just fall flat on their face because they just haven't got the experience to carry off that kind of event.
Absolutely. And I think, like you say, it's evolved for us. And there were more people that we've recruited that have brought different skill sets and told us to question ourselves and maybe seen how we can do better. And the more people that we've got involved, the better we've been able to become, because I think just the small team that we were, I mean, we got it up, we got it started, but it's the people that have got on board since that have brought us to where we are now.
So has there been any disasters here?
Well, Sophie and I were talking about this, and a few of the disasters have sort of maybe been self-caused, so we won't go into those because we've always managed to pull them back somehow. But one that was a little bit out of our control happened on a bank holiday. I think it was in our second or probably our second year. It was August bank holiday. So we were off the back of 4 really long weddings. And I think back in those days, we didn't have the team that we have in place now. So literally, I think at times it would be Sophie, myself, Dom, maybe doing 4 18-hour shifts back to back because staff shortages. So literally you'd start at 8 in the morning, you'd be here till 2 in the morning. Sometimes starting cleaning, then you'd do the wedding managing, and then you'd be on the bar. But again, we just made it work. So it was one of those hectic bank holiday weekends. I think Dom had cut herself quite badly with a knife that day. So she'd had to go home, and myself and Sophie finished off the wedding. We locked up on the Sunday night and went home at about 3 a.m. And then I could hear my phone going, when you fall asleep and you've been asleep only a couple of hours, but you're exhausted. And my phone was going, and I just turned it off because I could see it was a cleaner from the barn. I thought, what does she want? So I turned my phone off, and then it rang again. I thought, she really must need something. So I answered the phone, and she was like, Sally, the barn's on fire. And I was like, am I in a dream? And she's like, no, Sally, there's flames. It's all up the back doors. It's really, really scary. You need to come now.
So what threw your mind then when you
was just was sheer panic for a moment, and then I said, you need to call. I said, can you get water? I'll get there as soon as I can, but I live 20 minutes away. And can you call the fire brigade? Because, well, first of all, I thought she meant a small fire. And she's like, no, I can't tackle this.
Right.
But I think what had happened is that very early in the morning that the cleaners come in, like 6 o'clock. The local farmer that owns the fields behind us was driving past in his tractor, and he'd seen the flames on the back, and they were on the wooden doors at the back door of the barn.
Oh, wow.
He'd seen the flames, so he had called the fire brigade. So the fire brigade were on their way, unbeknown to my cleaner. But literally, we used to have a washing machine and a tumble dryer outside, encased in concrete. But we used to put the washing on, the tea towels, just before we left. But because the the extension lead hadn't been unfoiled all the way, that had overheated, and that had set fire, and then it went up the electricity wire and set fire to the back doors. So had the farmer not been driving past, or had the cleaners not come in that day, that early, the whole place could have gone up, because it is largely built of wood. So that was a scary moment.
So was there a lot of damage from that, or?
Thankfully, the fire brigade came in time, and it was the back doors, and obviously the buildings, it's building regulations, and there's sandstone and insulation and whatnot. So it was.
That's one of those times where all those fire regs where you're like, actually, I get it.
I'm really glad that I followed all those rules.
And I really didn't know that you had to unravel your extension leads all the way until the fire brigade said that is what's caused that fire. So
and to be fair, there's no big warnings on them or anything.
No, they don't actually put that on the extension cables. You think they would?
Yeah, you think they should. So now I know. Learn the lesson the hard way.
Well, the barn's fine. So.
And we live to tell the tale. And nobody was hurt.
And nobody was hurt. That's very important.
So another story is back in the early days, one of the earlier weddings, the bridesmaids were stranded on the bypass. I think their car had broken down.
Oh, no.
And the bride was getting ready here, and she was getting really panicky because it's very, very close to the ceremony time. And she's like, where are my bridesmaids? Where are my bridesmaids? And they were like, well, our car's broken down. We're stuck on the side of the 483. So we were like, we need to get them. But it just so happened that one of the farmers actually that had helped us with the build saw these bridesmaids stranded on the side of the bypass.
Wasn't the same farmer from the burn.
Not the same farmer from the burn, but he was the guy that actually installed the larch on the back of the bridge.
Oh, wow.
So he saw these bridesmaids on the side of the road, stopped, and said, oh, girls, can I help you? And they were like, yeah, we need to get to Tower Hill Barns. So he picked them up and brought them all here safely. And the bride was really pleased that her girls got here just in the next time for the wedding.
That's so nice though, because as soon as they would have said Tower Hill Barns, he would have gone, yes, absolutely.
I know that place.
Course, it was that link, it was lovely. So that was a nice little story.
One of the things I couldn't believe when I first started here was how nice the chefs are. Because all venues I've ever worked at, I've worked from like big corporate ones down to bespoke venues, now to a wedding only venue. And chefs, obviously they've been nice, but obviously they're known for being stressful, shouty, very vocal. So then coming here, I'm meeting the likes of, Pilch, Ella, Gaz and Chris,
Yeah.
who are all wonderful. But then when we're actually in the midst of sending the wedding breakfast, there's no shouting.
Yeah.
It's very calm. It's very chilled.
Yeah.
And it, service is perfect, isn't it?
It's not there's no Gordon Ramsay then.
No,
at the back.
there's no swearing,
yelling
there's
or
no
anything.
Gordon Ramsay,
Yeah.
and it just feels very chilled. It's not stressful for us
Yeah.
coming in, like we're not nervous on
Yeah.
eggshells coming into the kitchen.
Well,
That's
the food
important.
is amazing though here.
Yeah, they're very
Really
good,
is.
aren't they?
Yeah, really proud of the kitchen team, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, they're just such. I think Pilch and Chris are both such calm characters, and they work very, very well because they're friends as well.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps in the kitchen because they just got a mutual respect for one another.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no egos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and even I think that can be a thing amongst chefs that maybe.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't happen here, and nobody's trying to outprove each other, and nobody's
Yeah.
they don't feel like they're bigger than the venue or bigger than whatever, and everybody's just here for the one goal to just give the best possible food in the
Yeah.
most calm
Experience.
circumstances and
Yeah.
make it about the couple and not about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're amazing, and they're really, really easy to talk to, and
Approachable.
yeah, and hopefully they help when you're doing your food talks and whatnot because they'll.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go to Pilch and I'll say, oh, can we do this? Or, can a dairy-free guest have that? And he'll give me different suggestions and he'll say, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. Or actually, let's do it this way. Or, do you know what I mean? He's very flexible and tries to work with the couples on
So there's a lot of choice
what they
then.
want. Yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
I had a couple in my first year here, so what was that now? What are we now? 2022. They were supposed to, because obviously it was a backlog of COVID at that point.
Yeah.
So they were supposed to get married in Greece.
Ah.
And the groom was very much wanted a Greek element to the wedding.
Oh yeah.
So for the evening food, we do amazing things like chicken burgers, beef burgers, pizzas, fajitas.
Yeah.
But he wanted Greek gyros.
Okay.
Now, it's something we'd never done, wasn't it? And Pilch wasn't sure, but anyway, he was like, yeah, it's fine, let's do it. So then he mocked one up and, had is it called parchment paper?
Yeah.
Had the parchment paper, wrapped it all up, and it looked incredible. And obviously we got to taste test that.
Yeah.
And it was divine. And it was exactly what the groom had envisaged. So yeah, we pulled that one off, and he is very flexible in that aspect. If there was something that, you wanted,
Yeah.
and he'll do his best to do that.
And
That's
you can
amazing.
cater for all the dietary requirements, I'm
Oh
guessing.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Most things we can adapt, can't we? For gluten-frees, dairy-frees, or no garlic. We've had a lot of
You do
ones
get
that
a
you
lot of-
don't
Yeah.
necessarily think of, like no garlic, no
Yeah.
chili, no pepper.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, we'll take our dietaries to chef and run through the food with them. For every wedding we do that.
Yeah.
Or in the past, actually, we've had a mother of the bride, for example, who has been a bit nervous about food because she's got a lot of allergies and things like that. So chef will take time out of his day and he'll have a conversation with them on the phone, put them at ease and go
Wow.
through. He's very good like that. What do you want to eat? What do you feel comfortable eating? Things like that. And he'll have that conversation with the couple, with the person that has got the allergies and the worries, just to put them at ease, because there's only so much I can do as a wedding manager to put
Yeah.
a couple or the family member at ease, but when the chefs come to talk to you,
That's pretty big actually.
yeah
And it is a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is as an owner and for head chef and for
absolutely
the kitchen team, because
Yeah.
when you're talking about people's allergies, it can be
It's
very
so-
Oh,
severe.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, he takes all that really seriously, but he's really, really good at handling it and still creating something amazing for people
Yeah.
that's wedding standard food,
exactly
taking all the allergies into consideration, which is no mean feat, really.
No.
Yeah.
So, basic question: do you get to try the food first? How does that work?
I do get to try a lot of the food.
we do
But do the couples get to try the food? So
Yeah.
me and Vic, we're going to get married in Tower Hill Barns.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What happens next?
So you'll get to come to the menu tasting event. So depending on when you get married depends on when the event will take place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this Friday.
This
Friday. We will be having the first round of tastings.
Yeah.
So that is for couples getting married February 2025 until the end of April 2025.
Okay.
So it's nice and intimate, and you've
Yeah.
got all those couples. If they want to bring family members, they absolutely can do.
Yeah.
And they'll be
You
on
must
their
have
own.
to put a limit on that, though.
Yeah, so like, for example, you
Are
guys
these my
might...
second cousins?
Yeah.
We've all just came for dinner on a night out.
Yeah. So, you know, you might want your parents or your best man and your maid of honour to come
Yeah.
with you. So
Yeah.
you'll then be on your own little table of 4.
That's nice.
So that
Yeah.
you get to enjoy that together. You'll pick a start and main dessert each and get to try all of that. On
Amazing.
arrival will be drinks, maybe some cocktails I think we're doing. And then canapes will come round. So it'll be almost like you're experiencing how your day might run.
That
sounds
in
like a
terms of the
really
food,
good
the
night,
drinks.
doesn't it?
Great
Oh
night.
god, yeah. I always advise my couples to get taxis.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Come and enjoy it, because
Yeah.
you get to taste all the wines as well, as much
Yeah.
as you'd like to try.
Yeah.
The whole wine menu really is on
Yeah,
offer,
oh,
isn't it?
definitely.
So-
We've got a table for, especially for the wine, haven't we? Because we
Amazing.
are,
Yeah.
especially us, we're big winies, aren't we? But, you know, we love our wine. Like, I've done a wine course in the past, and it's
Oh,
so
wow.
interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it pairs well with the food.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
food's amazing. You want amazing wine, don't you? So,
Of course you do.
yeah, so that's really exciting, and the couples love that. And then we'll have another meeting after that to go through all their food and beverage questions, and that's a really good point where I then, you know, say, do you want a Mr. and Mrs. cocktails? Do you want newlywed cocktails?
Yeah, because you guys have a cocktail like sign on the bar, don't you? Which says what they've picked.
Exactly. And sometimes they don't want it. It's just something where we
Yeah.
actually get to then be creative and make, you know, the
Yeah.
newlyweds cocktail of choice
Yeah.
or something if they've got
That's
a favourite
nice.
drink. And
Yeah.
in the past, you know, we've had a baby Guinness and a Guinness, and I can't tell you how many baby Guinness we made that evening. That obscene amount.
When the
Yeah.
guests see that sign on the bar, it's a huge seller.
Yeah.
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 Because everyone's, oh yeah, I'll have a bride or I'll have a groom, and
Yeah.
so
And they
it's,
love
it's a
it.
nice
That's cool.
idea.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's personal then, isn't it? Because if that's what the couple like to drink,
Yeah.
their guests then know what to buy them should they want to
Yeah.
buy them a drink.
Yeah.
And it's just a bit of a personal touch.
A way of
from-
getting the guests
Yeah.
involved in their party, isn't it?
Exactly that. Exactly that.
That's really nice. It just kind of adds value to that kind of rich experience of coming in and having that separate kind of food tasting where it's a proper night out and there's nice wines, and you know, we haven't even got married yet, but they're already having these great experiences and building these
Yeah.
nice memories. And so after, say, me and Vic get married in Tower Hill Barns, can we come back to Tower Hill Barns?
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't say actually at the tasting, obviously everywhere's open up so they can go and have a little look, or if, you know,
If they've got any questions,
exactly,
they can. Yeah.
and they can come up here, they can go to the accommodation, everything
okay,
like
that's
that.
cool.
Um,
So it's like an open house / food tasting. They can walk around and see
Exactly.
everything. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, you know, we put on a lot of, you know, open days and open evenings, things like that. Or, you know, if they want to just, you know, show grandma around, because she's not been before,
Yeah.
just let us know. We'll check the diary, make sure nothing's going on. You know, because if there's a wedding taking place, you obviously can't come. You can't just have your bride and your grandma rocking up. So yeah, we're more than happy for them to come and have a little look, come to the open days.
Yeah.
And I
It's their
suppose
venue,
in
isn't it? They
terms
want to get excited.
in terms of people being able to come back afterwards, we do put on Christmas lunches, Mother's Day lunch,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
lovely.
where time allows. And I think going forwards we'll be doing more sort of Sunday lunches to let people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Christmas lunches and the Mother's
Yeah.
Day in particular are really good because people will come back. We've got people that come back year after year now, and
Yeah.
we've seen their families grow.
Oh,
So they come and get
lovely.
married with
Babies and
us,
stuff.
and they
Yeah.
come in with one baby, then another baby,
Yeah.
and it's just really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the ones that we've got coming up, you're just really excited, and you see the same faces year in, year out, and it's really nice. They are part of the family. They can come back
Yeah.
and bring in their new families with them.
That's
It's
amazing.
lovely.
Because it really adds to the experience. Because one of the amazing things about an exclusive venue is you don't have other people, you know, around. You know, when you have a hotel wedding, sometimes there'll be just people potting around, isn't there, kind of thing. It
Or
takes
if you get married near a golf course.
yeah, there's a little bit
Constantly
less.
shouting for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little bit less magic to it compared to it all being yours for the day. But then you get the downside of with a lot of exclusive places, you can't go back. Once you're married there, it's an exclusive venue, so it doesn't do anything else. It's not an active hotel, so you can't go back for lunch. But they've built all these beautiful memories here. So it's nice to be able to go back and kind of and have that relive a little bit of it and have that association with the place. And,
Yeah.
this is a special place to be.
Definitely.
By having those dinners, I think that really kind of adds to a couple's experience to be able to go, we get to come back and relive a little bit of it. It's always nice to go back to that place. That's because we say when we do pre-wedding shoots with couples, say once we go to this beach or we go to this nice place, this will now forever be a special memory for you. This will be a special place.
Yeah.
Because you'll go back there and you'll go, oh, this is where we had our pre-wedding shoot, or you might take the dog for a walk there and you go, this is where we did that, this is where we did that, and it means something to you now.
Yeah, it's so nice. And I thought even, maybe even going forwards, we've even talked about perhaps putting on, well, you and I were talking the other day, weren't we? Because it'll be our 10th anniversary next year. We're like, should we do a 10th anniversary ball and put it out to all the couples that have got married within the last 10 years, and would they like to come and have a dinner dance? Not everybody may want to, not everybody may be able to, but we thought it might be an event that's really worth putting on, so people could come and relive their day should they want to.
Absolutely.
And give them an opportunity to come back. So
and eat the food again.
have some more food.
Try the new cocktails.
Yeah.
Just be back in their venue and see us again. So I love it. As soon as I see someone I know, I'm like, come here. Especially at the Christmas lunches. It's lovely.
No, they're lovely events to work at, aren't they? It's a really
I
nice
love it.
feeling.
And it's a bit different as well. You can get to see some, familiar faces.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Talk me through everything that Tower Hill Barns has to offer. So, where can you get married?
So you can get married in the old barn, which is the original barn.
Okay. How many people can you have in there?
120 as a maximum.
Yeah.
But depending on how many numbers you've got, we can just kind of move the chairs and the space to see fit. And then obviously you can get married down at the bridge.
Yeah, you got that famous outside area, haven't you? So how's that for capacity then?
So again, comfortably you can get 100 under the canopy, that's right, isn't it? And then you've got the pews under the bridge.
Yes, it's 120.
At max capacity.
That's a lot of day guests though, isn't it? 120 really, so that's pretty good.
Very few weddings have 120 in the day, although we do... It does tend to be the winter wedding, which we've had. I think a few years ago we had a farmer wedding on New Year's Eve, and I was like, okay, so you're talking a lot of burly blokes. They've got to get married inside, and they had 144, and 144 for a sit-down 3-course dinner. We were like, whoa. But we got them in, and we managed the dinner, and it was one heck of a party.
Talk me through drinks reception then. What options are open to you?
Well, I suppose again it's down to the couple themselves and what they envisage, but usually we have the drinks table set up for after the ceremony, or if they're coming from a church ceremony, we've got a drinks table ready for arrival. If they want canapes, that sort of thing.
So you've got out on the lawn at the back, haven't you, where people can kind of chill out, and you've got down here in the courtyard.
Yeah, and then round the back we've got where the gorgeous big tree is with the seating around it. Couples can go up onto the bridge, can't they? And on that lawn there by the tree we've had bouncy castles for the younger ones, things like that. And
you've got the outside bar to chill in the deck and stuff.
Yeah, the outside den area, and in the evening we'll put the fire pits on as well.
That's nice.
So we've got a lot of space actually in the wildflower meadow where Sean does a lot of amazing work.
And outside on the terrace, what's really nice is being able to have the acoustic singers out in the afternoon.
That's really
If you've got a sunny afternoon, you've just served their drinks, canapes are circulating, and you've got some live music.
Nice.
Either standing on the deck, or sometimes they've been standing on their balcony overlooking the deck. And it's quite nice as well if couples like to have their first dance outside in the summer.
That's lovely.
So that's quite special.
That's pretty unique. It's not a place
that's
that
unique.
And I think because we've got a sound system that plays throughout the entire venue, every area has the same music playing. So if they do want to get married, have a dance outside, it's easily done, and it's quite special.
I think the great thing about this venue as well is that you guys can adapt to any type of weather. So the fact that it's snowing outside right now and it still looks gorgeous and the rooms are still available, you could still throw a wedding today if needed. And at the same time, in the summer when it's absolutely stifling hot and you can have a ceremony outside, there's barbecues, it's lovely, isn't it? You can do so much.
Yeah, we like to think that we can make the weddings as unique as the couples that are getting married. So they can, like you say, have it as relaxed as they want, and the entire venue's open to them as well. So, and it does lend itself, like you say, to summer, everybody being outside.
Yeah.
Or my personal favourite time is autumn and winter, when the twinkly lights are on, when the fire pits are on, and when all your nearest and dearest are all inside.
That's nice.
And it can be overlooked, the winter sometimes, but it's
Yeah.
actually like it's really intimate.
Nice and
and
cozy,
It's
isn't it?
cozy.
cozy,
Yeah.
but there's still enough space for everybody to...
Yeah.
Yeah, because the bar is quite big, to be fair. It's got a decent amount of
big
space in there,
area.
isn't it? Yeah, because we've been here during winter weddings, and there's enough space when it's raining outside or whatever for everyone to just kind of really enjoy the indoor spaces. So
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
Lots
doesn't
of
feel
them there.
separate as
Yeah.
well.
There's like a bit of a chill out area up here as well, isn't there? That
Yeah.
people can kind of come into, because we're in the bridal prep room now,
Yeah.
typically, and then you've got that kind of seating area
Snug
just
area.
across, snug area, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got bar area downstairs, and then when couples come in, do they always have to come through the staircase at the top, or
No. So that's something we discussed at our meeting, and not all couples want to come down the stairs.
Yeah.
So they worry that they might fall. I don't think we've had anyone
Yeah.
fall
No,
yet.
God, no.
If that was me, it would happen. I'd be on the floor. But
Too much prosecco, that'd be.
Yeah.
I think it's nice when they come out to the balcony bit, isn't it? And it's a big woohoo, there's
and
arms in
everyone's
the air.
waving the napkins. It's lovely. But then it's also equally nice when they come in from the main porch area.
That's
because
nice.
it's less pressure, a bit more relaxed. They're
Yeah.
on the same level as the guests, and then they just weave in and out.
Yeah.
Got some songs going. Something upbeat is usually what I recommend for that entrance.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is unique to us or whether other venues do it, but other weddings I've been at, they haven't necessarily chosen a specific song, and we get the bride and groom to choose a specific song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And the minute that they're announced in the room, we hit play on that song, and they dance through their friends, and it's really that is one of my favourite parts of the day.
Definitely.
It's a nice thing to do, isn't it? It's nice to be able to kind of have that big entrance, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. You usually see me in the background dancing away.
Yeah, waving away or shaking your booty to Beyonce.
With the microphone. Woo!
Yeah.
So back into the scenario then. So me and Vic
Yes.
got married here. We've had a wonderful day. We've ordered way too much wine. We brought
Yeah.
the family with us. Where do we stay? What do we do? Do we get a taxi home?
The couple get the honeymoon suite included for the night of the wedding, and then
So where's the honeymoon suite then? Is that separate to this?
yeah, so it's in the farmhouse accommodation, and in there you've got the honeymoon suite and then 4 other rooms,
Oh, perfect.
and then
Yeah.
opposite we've got the glamping lodges. So
Okay.
you've got 2 doubles, 2 twins, which are brilliant, aren't they? They are amazing.
Really cosy.
Yeah, really cozy.
So how much of the family can stay then on site?
Yeah, so in the farmhouse you can sleep up to 10, and then we've got a couple of pop-up beds for the younger ones.
That's pretty cool.
And then the glamping pods is a maximum of 2 per room, so that's 8. So 18 really, and then a couple of
So that's your core family then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you
The-
know,
the-
some
everything
dearest.
else. Yeah, and then everybody else just kind of stays locally, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we've got an Airbnb down the bottom of the drive, sort of close, isn't it?
There's a lot of local accommodation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that quite a few couples do tend to book, and on our website we've got a list within like a 5-mile radius, walking distance.
Oh, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really
Stumbling
handy
distance.
for them. Yeah, rolling home.
So, do you have any top tips for any couples out there?
So I suppose one tip that I think is important is just to trust your wedding planner.
Yeah.
Just trust me. I know what I'm doing. I know how important the wedding day is to you.
Yeah.
But it's equally as important to me to make sure that everything runs perfectly and smoothly. And we've got an amazing team here. So nothing's overlooked. Everything, is thought about, even down to the placement of the name card and things like that. On who do you want facing you on the top table, if you're having a top table. So I would just say try not to overthink the small things.
Yeah.
I know it's way easier said than done. Because I'm an overthinker myself. But I think that's because I'm a perfectionist. So just trust your team that you've got around you, trust your suppliers, trust your venue, because we all want the day to be as amazing as it will be.
Yeah. It's a good one.
So some of the venues we go to, some of them give the couple a pause, some of them it's just quite intense all the way through. What's your kind of approach to making sure that the couple are just taking it all in?
So I suppose it is very important for them to be as relaxed as possible, because it is an overwhelming situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's added pressure for speeches and things like that. So for us, it's very important that it's as relaxed as possible.
Yeah.
So, once you've had all your photos and your drinks reception, we just think it's really important to have 5 minutes, just the two of them, together to chat, because you are pulled in different directions, saying hello to Auntie Pat and Uncle John or whoever it might be. So you need to have 5 minutes to decompress together and just say hi and just be like, oh my god, have you said hello to so and so, have you so
when does that normally happen then?
So usually we'll get the couple, if they want to come in and be announced in from the stairs, we'll get them up there 5-10 minutes before we seat the guests. Or we'll seat the guests if they're coming in from the porch, and then they can have 5 minutes together there.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's definitely important. Or like in the past, we've had couples where they're like, do you mind if we just go to the farmhouse for 5 minutes just to have a minute? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It's really important. So go over there. I'll let you know when I've seated the guests, and then I'll come find you.
Just take it all in.
Yeah, that's it. Take it all in. It's your big day and it goes so quickly. So you want to take it all in.
So what we see a lot of in different venues where they really try and squeeze that drinks reception time, and it doesn't leave a lot of time for family formals and for the couple's portraits, but most importantly to get around all their guests and have a mingle and have a chat. So what's sort of your approach to drinks reception and giving people time to do those sort of things?
So I suppose, again, we want everything to be as relaxed as possible. We don't want to be pushing our couples and forcing them to sit down if they're not ready to. So when I sit down with my couples and I have that meeting, I'll usually typically allocate around an hour and a half for the drinks reception. But I always say to them, make sure you double check with your photographers, videographers. Do they think that's enough time for the list of pictures you want? If you're wanting 30 formal shots, realistically, is that enough time for you to then enjoy your drinks reception, mingle with your guests, have your canapes, enjoy your live music? So it's important, maybe as a tip, to maybe send pictures of your nearest and dearest to your photographer, so that you ahead of the game, they know who they're looking out for these pictures.
Who the key players are.
Exactly. So that you can maybe enjoy a little bit of mingling whilst your photographer's getting those shots. But on the day itself as well, I'll double check with the photographer and videographer, how are we getting on, how many more pictures are you looking at, do I need to double check with Chef if we can push things back slightly? I'm kind of in their hands as well, so it's all about communicating with the team on the day as well.
Definitely.
So one tip we tend to recommend for our couples, especially for winter weddings, is to Google their wedding date and then the word sunset time. And then they can see what time the sun drops behind the horizon, and then start thinking about what time you want your sit down meal to say, if you sat down at this point, would there be a golden hour of a sunset happening 20 minutes later when you're about to start your speeches? Is it worth trying to work out? That's when the sun sets. So if I work backwards to my drinks reception, maybe my ceremony should be this time. That means I get a maximum amount of time in the daylight, so I can have all the nice things, all the nice pictures and, shot in the day. And then as the sun's set and we're all just sitting down for dinner, it's nice and cozy, just to help kind of frame their mindset as to what the structure of the day might look like.
I think that's a top tip for us, because we lead them, don't we? And what in their timings. So having heard that from you today, it's just like, actually now we can really think about that and actually
especially
advise couples what to do.
And if they do want those golden hour photos, and if they want speeches before or after the meal, you've got to think about the daylight, I suppose, in that aspect, and how cozy will it be with your candles.
It's before
and
they pick a ceremony time, isn't it? So we get that. The first thing we do when couples book with us, we set up a little WhatsApp group, and then we send them across all the information about how long it takes us to do what we do, how long it takes us to do family formals, portraits, how long we recommend for mingling, all these things. They can do whatever they want to do with their planning, but to get the best out of us and for the package they've bought with us, these are the timings we recommend. And then it helps them in the early planning stage, instead of pushing back later on the day, going, oh no, we need more time. They've known from the outset of planning how long we take to do stuff. And a big part of that is knowing when the sun sets. So then you can say like at this time of year, if it sets at 4:00, well, if you're sitting down at 3, that last hour of light is probably going to be amazing, But if you sat down at 4 and say got married at 2, then you get the best out of it, but then you're just sitting down for this nice cozy dinner. The sun's gone, doesn't matter. You're not missing anything outside. You're not listening to Dad do his speech and this amazing sunset's happening behind him. We're all like, we wish the couple were out there enjoying that.
Yeah, winter weddings eat after 4.
Yeah.
Which is great. And like you say, then it gives you that dinner party atmosphere. It's dark. You're not missing anything.
That's
it's a
it. And
really,
it happens
really
with
top tip.
It happens for the summer stuff as well, where you get people Google it and you go, oh, it's sun will set at like 8 o'clock. And you go, what are you doing at 8 o'clock? Oh, that's the time I planned for my first dance. Okay. So just bear in mind, if you wanted to go back out for golden hour stuff or sunset stuff, it's good to kind of know where it's going to be. And I think for this gorgeous venue, sun sets over the fields, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is always nice. So and you'd hate to kind of be having your first dance over here and that's happening over there.
Yeah.
Or in the best case scenario with this place, if you're having a summer wedding and the first dance is outside and it's just that last bit of sunshine coming over the hills, that's just gorgeous.
Yeah. So sometimes that first dance could be pushed back till after 9 o'clock. It doesn't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
You know, actually they have drinks after dinner, mingle on the terrace.
Takes that
Chill
pressure
out,
away
let the
from...
dinner go down, and then
Yeah.
let the party kick off a little bit later of an
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah, and do you know what?
Essentially.
That's what I do as well on the evening. I'm double checking. Are you ready to cut the cake and do your first dance? No, actually, G, can we have an hour? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got some questions here that have came
Okay.
through. So one person's asked, who's your favourite member of staff?
That's cruel.
Pressure.
Really
Pressure. Headlock now.
Awkward.
Well, technically, Sal's like
I'm not a member
owner,
of
so
staff.
Yeah,
I think,
so- You don't count. God, I say Nelly, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nelly's the dog. God, who would I choose?
Tick-tock, tick.
I'd just say Coach, because he makes the food.
I'd have to go with Chef then, wouldn't I? But it's the most delicious food, especially at lunchtime on a weekday.
You're not going to say no to food, are you?
No, absolutely not.
Actually, I have a side question on that. When do you eat? Because we get to eat when the couple get to have their mains or thereabout, and we love the fact that you guys look after the suppliers and you do an amazing job of that, and we can't thank you enough for that. There are some venues you go to where their supplier meal consists of triangle sandwiches and chips, which honestly I'd rather just bring my own food. But to have a hot meal on a 13-hour day is super, super helpful. So massive thank you for that. On behalf of all suppliers, I should say.
Pleasure.
But I forgot my question.
When does he get to eat?
When do you get to eat?
So I suppose it depends.
'Cause it's a long day for you too.
Or you just snacking throughout?
Yeah,
I'm a nibbler, so
yeah,
I
we
eat
are
all day.
snackers throughout the day. And I suppose it kind of depends on when aspects of the day are happening.
Okay.
So depending on how many speeches there might be or when the speeches are, might be when I'd eat, or maybe after sort of the first dance and sort of that aspect of the coordinating is done. But definitely a snacker throughout the day. As soon as I'm walking past where my snacks are, I'm like, munch, a quick nibble.
What's the wedding that you remember the most?
But I suppose I'll never forget this. It was in the early days of me becoming a wedding planner, and there was a bit of tension anyway because the bride and groom, there was a bit of tension there because the bride had been cheating on the groom with the best man.
Oh
dear.
But they decided to go ahead with the wedding anyway because of the children. So they got married and everything like that, and it all went smoothly until the groom caught the bride kissing the best man round the corner. So next thing you know, chairs are flying across the room, and I'm just kind of stood there like in the middle of all of this chaos unfolding, like, what do I do in this situation? Like, punches are being thrown. So yeah, I'll never forget that.
So that was as a wedding planner, but in a different venue.
Yeah.
Because
in
we
the
don't get
early
that sort of
days.
clientele here.
I don't definitely not.
We have had it. We have.
So that was a good few years ago now, and one of my first ever weddings at a different venue. But I'll never forget that. That will stay with me forever. I don't know if it's a good stay with me forever or if it's just haunting, to be honest.
It's funny.
It's definitely a story for the grandkids.
So another question is, how did you start as a wedding manager?
Do you know what it was? I was always that kid that kind of knew what I wanted to do. You know, when you're growing up and you're like, oh, what do I want to do? So I was always that kid that kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. And to be honest, I just wanted to party for the rest of my life. But it kind of just...
I think my dad said that at my wedding. It's like the one thing that Sally has always truly excelled at is partying.
That's
Thanks,
true.
Dad.
I do see a lot of pictures of you in Ibiza.
Okay.
It's
True story.
It's like your old Facebook scroll. It's like, oh, there's Sally again having a great time. And it's like, there's me in the office. It's like, I'm doing something wrong.
Market research.
It's market research, it's good. And then, so then I decided to go to university and study event management. And then it wasn't until my second year that we had to select certain modules. So it might be like business events, festival events, or weddings.
Yeah.
And I chose weddings. I wasn't really sure at that point whether I was interested in that, but then I just fell in love with it as soon as I was studying it and learning about all the different aspects of it. And when I was younger, I did waitressing at a family friends venue as well. So I kind of always had my little foot in the door in that aspect. And then I suppose it snowballed from there. So then my third year at uni, I did a placement doing weddings and all sorts of events actually, and then I realised actually it's weddings that I love. So then it snowballed from there, and here I am.
That's really nice.
Okay, another question is, what is it about weddings that motivates you to bring your A game?
I suppose getting to know that couple, getting to know their likes, their dislikes, what they envisage. And I am a bit OCD in the fact that I'm very organised. I've got my tick list, I've got my spreadsheets, I've got my colour coordinating, everything like that. And I just want it to be perfect for them, because that's what I'd want. That's what anyone would want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always like, I need to make sure that I'm bringing my A game, because so-and-so, they need that, they deserve that. Every couple deserves their dreams to come true. And it's just an honour to be a part of that, so you want to make sure that you bring in your A game.
I don't think people always get that. You can't just turn up and have a lazy day.
No. I do think we've got a team of perfectionists, actually, when I'm thinking about it, listening to you talking about, because it shows in your work every day. And the kitchen team, they're the same. Me with my attention to detail. Sophie with the way that she runs things.
Definitely.
I think we've got a team of perfectionists. And even if you come into work and you feel a bit like,
everyone has
which
off
everybody
day.
has off days. You've only got one chance, even though you've built a rapport with the couple. But you've only actually got one chance to pull it off. You cannot afford to mess up their special day when they've paid a lot of money and there's high expectations.
It's the small stuff, isn't it? Because we work in hospitality. And you can't be the person who's not smiling at them.
No.
You can't be working behind the bar, or we can't be doing our job. And even if we're just heading from A to B, I'll just go set up the ceremony, I pass a couple of guests. I can't just walk past them and be thinking face.
Just smile.
That's what Clara was saying. You've got to smile.
Yeah.
Because they will remember that. They remember they're having this lovely, lovely day, and you're the person who just brought them down because they just look really unhappy. And so it doesn't matter what's going on, you've really got to kind of park it. And early to bed, crack on, make this a really great experience, and put a smile on, and make sure you're projecting that so people feed off that.
Although in the past I have been told I smile too much, so sometimes I'm like,
I think I'm a bit smiley, and I walk through looking a bit like checking out. She must look a bit mad.
What else do we have? We've got another question. Do you have a cleaning team for post-wedding cleanups, or should I say, do you need one?
we have.
I think someone's after a job there.
Unfortunately, we have two incredible cleaning teams, don't we? We've got accommodation cleaning team, and we've got a venue cleaning team.
Brilliant.
So unfortunately, we've got incredible cleaners already.
You're already sorted, aren't you? Yeah. And then the last one I've got on here is no question, just that G is absolutely amazing at her job.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've obviously got some Instagram fans.
That's really nice to hear. That's always lovely.
So massive thank you, ladies. I think we'll wrap that up for today. Thank you for Tower Hill Barns for hosting. Really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to see you lovely ladies. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Likewise, always a pleasure to see you guys.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.